Welcome to a short video in regards to Humanities in the Primary Classroom, Assessment 2. So the assessment overview. So this individual assessment tasks provides you with an authentic example of planning within the humanities. Your folio is a collection of artefacts generated by you that show your readiness to teach in each of the humanities learning areas explored within the unit. This task is assessing your ability to demonstrate that you meet the criteria for the following learning outcomes. Demonstrate and communicate an understanding of the curriculum content of humanities learning areas. You're going to analyse pedagogical approaches in teaching and learning of humanities in the primary classroom, including single subject and cross-disciplinary approaches. You're able to generate resources, plans of lessons, units of work that reflect relevant current curriculum documentation, contemporary pedagogical approaches, including the use of ICT. You're able to analyse a range of assessment strategies and record-keeping instruments within humanities and social sciences in terms of their purpose, benefits, limitations, and implementation constraints. You're able to critically analyse how the broader theoretical societal context impacts on the teaching of humanities. So the first section of your folio is the resources section, and you can see that the table has been set out for you as well as the expected content that we're looking for. So you can't change any of this information. So in this section of the folio, you need to show an inquiry question, and these come straight from the ACARA documentation. And then you need to have 2 resources for each inquiry question, and these can include books, web-based resources, multimedia resources, and you can put images in, as you can see they have done here with the telephone. Okay, so use this example to form the basis of your folio. Next, you're going to evaluate the resources that you've chosen, and in our Collaborate session when we meet together, we're going to look at the telephone and develop some answers for our question. But in the evaluation section, you need to respond to the following questions for one of the 2 resources you selected to use for each discipline. So in what ways will you use this resource? What are the challenges in using this resource? How do you know this resource is useful, relevant to this grade level and this discipline area? And what will students learn through using, engaging with this resource? So when you come to the Collaborate session, please come ready to participate in an active discussion, unpacking this, the telephone as the resource. It is quite a tight word count, so you only need about 125 words for each resource that covers all of the 4 questions. A heading before each paragraph to identify which discipline and resource is a way to separate the information, and speak in general terms in regards to what you think the challenges would be generally for any teacher using this resource. In section 3 of the folio, you need to choose one of the options below and explain how you would teach it to the specified grade level. So there are 4 there to choose from. How has our community changed? What features have been lost and what features have been retained? B is understand that protecting the environment requires that people work together as citizens and consumers and participate in appropriate actions as environmental stewards or in other civic action to effect positive change. C, understand the effect that consumer decisions have on the individual. And D, explain places that are special and have meaning to us. So what you want to do is discuss how you would go about teaching the topic there. So for example, in the explain places that are special and have meaning to us, I might start off with a picture storybook as being the way that I introduce the topic. It might be about the local area in which the children I'm teaching live in and how the places are special. I might then discuss the approach that I'd use, inquiry or Bloom's taxonomy, and how that would form the basis of my teaching. So while you're completing this part, I want you to think carefully about the assessment strategies and record-keeping instruments that you would include in your lesson, and you will include this in part 4 of the task. So part 4 is an analysis of assessment strategies. So using the same teaching example from section 3, this is where you're going to now talk about the assessment strategies that you would use, and you also need to make sure you justify your strategies. A couple of strategies that I would use in my own teaching would be assessing students' prior knowledge, and the reason why I would do that is to make sure that I have the starting point for all of the children in my classroom so that I can build on their knowledge. It's also a good way for me to be able to see which children do have lots of strengths in the area and how I can use those strengths to enable and enhance the learning of other children in the classroom. So make sure that whatever assessment strategies you mention here, you are able to justify why that is an important way to assess the children. Section 5, it's only 250 words, so again, quite a succinct piece here. And what you need to do is you need to choose a controversial issue that is in the news at the moment and write a 250-word statement about your approach to exploring this issue with students. An excellent reading for you to use is The High Cost of Uncritical Teaching. Please make sure that you've read this and understand, why it's so important. Some of the topics at the moment that could be interesting to discuss would be pensioners' rights, refugees, Centrelink outcomes. There could also be a building in your local area that's being demolished to make way for new development, so that could be another controversial topic that could be explored. And then the humanities across the school. So identify examples of engagement with humanities concepts outside of the formal classroom context. Examples are student representative council. You need to include this list as an appendix, and there is no limit to the number of examples you provide, and this does not add to the word count. The more examples that you have, the more you demonstrate your understanding of the opportunities students have for learning outside of the formal learning environment for learning humanities concepts. And then you need to write a short response to the following 2 questions. What do students learn from involvement in these sorts of activities? And B, if the discipline concepts are lived through these experiences, do they have to be formally taught in the classroom? Now, make sure that you provide reasons to justify your answers, which includes reference to your list of examples. So don't forget to use supporting literature here as well. Now, as you can see in the pass area of the rubric, it says that all aspects of the task have been completed and the requirements of all criteria have been met at a satisfactory level. So all your work is original except where the works of others have been integrated and referenced according to APA conventions. Okay, and then the rubric gives you more information as to what we are looking for. So please make sure that you complete all sections of the folio. You must do that in order to be able to pass the assessment. We look forward to seeing you at the Collaborate session in week 8. Thanks, everyone.